How many people here think soccer is boring? I know, I get it. It's just guys running around, kicking a ball. Sometimes it doesn't even look like they know which way they're going. Well, my name is Leandro Proto, and I'm going to inform you of a working men's club rising all the way to an international, global powerhouse. I'm going to guide you through Manchester United's early days, the Matt Busby years, the Munich air disaster, Sir Alex Ferguson years, and how we got to today. In the early days of Manchester United, like I said, it was a working man's club. There was literally railroad companies that got together and bought a little small patch of land and created a soccer team. Uh, this was in 1878. They were originally named Newton Heath Football Club, and they moved to Old Trafford in 1902 under new ownership, a gentleman named John Davids. He changed the colors, which were green and yellow when they were Newton Heath Football Club, to red and white. He also changed their name to Manchester United Red Devils. Now we're going to be talking about Sir Matt Busby. So as you can see, we jumped from 1902, from when Manchester United changed their name and moved to Old Trafford, to now 1945. Sir Matt Busby, he was a Scottish legendary manager. In 1945, football was different. It was starting to have more academy products going into it. A lot more people like bringing young players from around the local areas into the soccer teams. So things were changing and evolving. And in Eamon Dunphy's book, A Strange Kind of Glory, Sir Matt Busby, Manchester United, Sir Matt Busby said, "I never wanted to be second to anybody. Only the best was enough." So you see the levels that they have there, and they actually had their first big crop of great players called the Busby Babes, which they named after his last name. They were a great crop of English players, and some of these players would be involved in England's first World Cup win, the only World Cup win that they've ever won. And unfortunately, a good amount of those teammates passed away because of the Munich air disaster that happened in 1958. Sir Matt Busby was in the plane whenever it crashed, and a few other players survived and other staff survived, but a lot of people passed away. He was quoted in the same book and said, "I thought I was dead in hell, but it was real life." But after the Munich air disaster, he had his next crop of players come through, and it was called the United Trinity. The United Trinity consisted of Dennis Law, Bobby Charlton, and George Best. George Best being the more eccentric of the three, being more of a player that everybody knew. He was very well known with the ladies. A lot of people knew who he was. And this team went on to win the 1968 European Cup. They used to call it the European Cup back then, but they now call it the Champions League today. You can see they have a statue right in front of Old Trafford there. And now we're going to transition over to the Sir Alex Ferguson years. So Alex Ferguson actually managed Manchester United from 1986 to 2013. So you see there's a little bump between 1969 of Sir Matt Busby and them winning the European Cup, how euphoric and how exciting that was, to 1986. And actually during that time, Liverpool were the most dominant team in England, being very successful, winning all sorts of trophies. Actually, the trophies that he's holding right there. So as you can see, Sir Alex Ferguson, he was another manager from Scotland as well. They tend to have this thing. And he spent 26 years at Manchester United and won 38 trophies. He won the Premier League, which is the English league in England. He won two Champions League, which was the European Cup back then, but now they changed it to the Champions League, where all the best teams in Europe play in one European league. And he also won 5 FA Cups, where all the English teams in England play in one big tournament. Sir Alex Ferguson, he's very well renowned for his management style and how aggressive he may come off. They call him hairdressers, but whenever he came in 1986, remember Liverpool was the dominant team. He wanted to knock them off their perch. That's what he said in his biography. His autobiography, I should say. One of the things he's very famous for is the class of '92. That's a whole group of homegrown talent that was cropped up around the local area. The famous players are going to be Ryan Giggs. He played for Manchester United from when he was a child all the way to into his 40s. David Beckham, international superstar. Paul Scholes, one of the greatest players to touch a football. They all came through the one academy, through Manchester United. They are famous as well for winning the historic treble. The team won the Premier League, the FA Cup, and the Champions League. No English team had ever done that before, and they were the first team, and still the only team, to win English treble like that. The legendary number 7, as you can see, Eric Cantona. He's a famous player. He was one of the first European players to play in England back in the 80s and 90s. There weren't really a lot of foreign players like playing in England. They actually had a rule against like X amount of foreign players can play. And whenever Eric Cantona came, that changed, and a lot more foreign players came, and the Premier League exploded in the early 90s. David Beckham, he was also a part of that explosion because he was one of the first crop of young players whenever the league started in 1992 that exploded onto the scene. Also, he's good looking, very good to sell in ads. Cristiano Ronaldo, very similar to David Beckham, international superstar, one of the greatest players to ever play the game. Like, fantastic player, and he also played for Manchester United and wore the number 7. And to date, Manchester United is one of the largest clubs in the world, with over just about 1 billion followers all around the social media sites. A Forbes valuation of $3.8 billion. Their manager is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He was a club legend. He scored the winning goal for that Champions League final in 1999. He is now the manager of the team. The notable players is Bruno Fernandes. He's a fantastic player. We just signed him from Sporting Club, the same club that we signed Cristiano Ronaldo from. Paul Pogba is one of the most outstanding players, World Cup winner, and Odion Igalo. He's the first Nigerian player to play for Manchester United. Again, my name is Leandro Proto, and thank you for listening to my informative speech about Manchester United.